Today, we're going to talk about buying a home in an HOA, better known as a homeowners association, and why you should never buy a home in an HOA. My name is Cherilyn Williams, and I'm a local Chicagoland realtor helping you build your dreams through real estate. And if you need help with any of your real estate needs in Chicago, please contact me. My information is in the description below. Also, please hit the like button, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel for weekly real estate content made just for you. Okay, if you are thinking about buying a home, you may be wondering if buying a home in an HOA would be the right choice for you. Many of you, I'm sure, have heard from people you know, like your family or friends, the complete horror stories and how much of a pain HOAs can be. And as you are out home shopping and looking at homes, you may be trying your very best to stay away from any communities or homes that have an HOA attached to them. And I can't say that I don't blame you. But what I'm seeing with many of the people that I work with is that sometimes they have no other choice than to buy a home in an HOA because the home prices for single family homes are so incredibly high everywhere. And more buyers are finding it hard to afford a single family home. So now many buyers, and especially first-time home buyers, are having to weigh their options and are turning their attention to less expensive home options to buy, like condos and townhomes. And of course, these are usually located, unfortunately, in an HOA community. Now, in this video, my intention is not to come down hard on HOAs, but I feel that it is important that I tell you the truth. And you know what? If you live in an HOA that you absolutely love, or you appreciate the fact that your HOA takes care of everything for you, like the upkeep and maintenance of your community, and you don't mind paying for that, that's really great and more power to you. And I hope you continue to have an enjoyable experience with your HOA. However, I'm going to tell you from my firsthand experience why I don't like HOAs and why I would recommend to you as a home buyer to stay far, far away from HOAs. The first thing that makes HOAs undesirable are all the rules and regulations that you as a homeowner would have to abide by in order to maintain uniformity to live in the community. The HOA board has complete control over what is allowed in your community. For instance, all the homes may have to be a certain paint color, or your front door has to be a certain color. You may also not be able to have certain dog breeds, or there may be restrictions on how much your pet weighs. If you live in a home for a couple of years and then hope to maybe someday, become an investor and rent your home out as a long-term or short-term rental, your HOA may not allow you to do rentals, or they could have a % cap on the number of units that can be rented out. I know that an HOA that I lived in, they expected us to have our garbage cans in and away from the curb by a certain time after the garbage collection. And it was like a time in the mid-afternoon when a lot of the homeowners hadn't made it home from work in the evening yet. But, some of my fabulous and amazing neighbors that were home would push our cans up to our garages, which was really helpful and very kind. But God forbid if we left our cans out until the next day, we all would get a warning letter on our front door that we could possibly be fined. And this letter had a picture of our garbage can sitting out by the curb as proof. And who really wants to be at work worried and stressed out about their garbage cans and if they will be able to make it home in time to put them away? It's just really silly. So I tell you all of this because it will be very important for you to find out and to know everything before you buy a home in a HOA. You need to know all of the rules and regulations, and they're sometimes referred to as CC&Rs, which stands for covenants, conditions, and restrictions. You got to find out all the rules before you buy because it may feel like you have no control over your home. And if you are a person that doesn't want anyone telling you what you can and cannot do in and around your home that you bought, an HOA may not be a good fit for you. This next one is that HOAs are so very expensive. Now, an HOA can cost a homeowner a couple of $100s to $1,000 or more. And this is not including your mortgage payment, which makes it even more scarier. And the cost of your HOA really depends on all of what they are offering, called the amenities. Most HOAs will cover the basics like lawn care, snow plowing, and general maintenance of the community. But Then you have some communities that have gigantic golf courses, state-of-the-art gyms, large swimming pools, parks, and playgrounds. So the more bells and whistles that you have in a community, the more expensive your HOA can be. It's funny because I have seen some expensive HOAs that had nothing much to offer, but were still quite expensive. But I digress. And there are some HOAs that include trash and utilities, which is very convenient where you don't have to set these things up yourself separately. So the more amenities a community offers, the more expensive your dues can be. And your dues can be paid monthly, quarterly, or yearly, but most often you will see them being paid monthly. And you best believe that your HOA dues will increase every year. And what really stinks is if the HOA doesn't do a good job at maintaining the community, or your dues keep going up each year, but there's not much to show for it or to justify the increase of dues, it can really make you upset that you are having to pay a high price for nothing because they don't do anything. So this is yet another reason why you should avoid buying a home in an HOA. Now, this next one is a dreadful one, and that is an HOA could be slapped with a special assessment. An HOA special assessment is usually created to deal with an unexpected expense in the community. For example, if a hurricane comes in and damages all the roofs in the neighborhood and they need to be replaced, your HOA could slap on a special assessment that must be collected to handle construction costs. Now, the homeowners association should have a reserve fund to cover repair bills, but unfortunately, it doesn't always work out that way. So if repairs are required that cost more than what is available in the reserve account, an HOA special assessment might be needed. And when the HOA hasn't been well managed and they don't have the reserves for a major project, the HOA must ask you, the homeowner, for more money. And often these special assessments are not cheap. Just think of how much a roof costs on a single family home. I mean, you're looking at what, maybe $20,000 or possibly more. Can you imagine how much more expensive it could be to replace a roof for an entire neighborhood or subdivision? And usually there will be a certain deadline to come up with your payment for this new project. This is why before you buy a home in an HOA, you need to check or have your realtor check to see if there are any special assessments or specific projects in the future, or better yet, just stay away from HOAs altogether. Now, within the HOA, you have board members like a president, vice president, and their goal is to enforce governing documents and community rules. And they also manage the financial aspects of the HOA, including collecting dues and overseeing community finances. Now, I would think most HOA board members are pretty upstanding people, but I have heard many stories of incompetent and unethical people on HOA boards, and it can be a complete nightmare for you and the entire community. If there is financial mismanagement or not properly allocating resources, it can really have a lasting and negative impact. Sometimes you deal with unethical board members that don't follow the governing bylaws and withhold information from homeowners, or there can be infighting and high egos amongst the board members. So these are some situations that can arise with HOA boards. And another thing that you have to consider with an HOA is that if you don't make your dues payments on time, you can be charged late fees and loss of privileges of community amenities. Or they can place a lien on your property, and in some rare cases, your home could be faced with a foreclosure proceeding by not paying your dues. So as you consider moving into an HOA, you need to be aware and be prepared that you will relinquish some of your control as a homeowner. Another downfall with HOA communities is that when you decide to sell your condo or townhome, you may have a limited pool of home buyers because some HOAs do not allow certain kinds of financing like FHA and will only allow conventional financing. So any buyers that have FHA financing, which a lot of times are first-time home buyers, that eliminates FHA buyers in your buying pool as a home seller. And the reason for this is that condo and townhome developments must go through an FHA approval process, which has strict guidelines and requirements that an HOA must adhere to. And sometimes the HOA doesn't want to deal with those restrictions. the irony. Now, there are some condo and townhome HOAs that do accept FHA home buyers, but you need to check to be sure because you don't want to be limited when you try to sell later on. So these are my reasons why you should never buy a home in an HOA. Now, for some of you living in an HOA, it's great for you because they take care of the maintenance and you may really like that community feel that a HOA offers, and that is great. But please be sure you do your homework and know everything you can before buying a home in an HOA. Now, do you currently live in an HOA? What positive and negative experiences have you dealt with within your HOA? Drop me a comment about your experiences. Until next time, thank you for watching.